Hey, we have come around again to Design Workshop. The group of 1-hour videos that prove you could do this too. I'm casually tracking how popular these are on YouTube. Hello. Hey. I thank you for showing up and using a secret command. That's super cool. That's fun as heck. Thank you for showing up. I'm going to say infinity as opposed to saying Anbon. Is that okay? Anbone? Anyway, thank you. I appreciate you. Back to the awkward opening. The awkward opening says there is a game at the bottom called Small Towers, and you're welcome to play, but that's not what we're doing today. This game's done. This game's been done. I'm happy with it. And I've even had 2 humans play. Yesterday we were raided, and we had 2 humans just jump in out of nowhere and play, which was fun. That's the first time that 2 humans, one of which who wasn't me, played. And so we got to see some play testing. Play testing. You see, last time on Design Chat, we recognized that there were some play testing results we could work with here in Design Workshop. Boop, boop, boop. In Design Workshop, we make things. In Design Chat, we talk about the design process so that we can be more intentional, more direct, maybe even more efficient. Last time we said there were some results from a design workshop that show us some interesting play testing results. These results could help us understand more about the player. Those results help us design better. These 2 series, Design Chat and Design Workshop, are sort of blending together. Why? Because we said, well, we could make a game, and we designed one on paper. And we've been making mechanics in Design Workshop, and now we're trying to do 2 things at once. Coco, hello! It's good to see you, and thank you for using Thai. We're sort of drawing today, sort of. And we're sort of making some stuff today, sort of. You are always welcome to do some artwork if you would like to. You know where to find the names of stuff. My next stream is going to be making a character called Immovable Object. Now, imagine what you would do to try and draw Immovable Object. I swear I just did Unstoppable Force. That was... these are getting impossible. They're crazy. Crazy. Oh, fun. Warm-up doodles. Well, doodles. That's a good way to segue. Because our design chat said we can make a game, and so we made a simple game idea. It was going to be a square you could control. Just get into the win square and you win. If this win square happens to shrink and disappear, then you can't win. So there's a lose state. There's a win, lose state. You got player control. Hey, that's a game. And we put this on paper, and we paper prototyped it. We just role played and pretended. And that was pretty good to get started. In Design Workshop, we said, well, cool. Let's do this because we have some mechanics like moving things around. And I think we had some time in Design Chat to say, like, hold on, we should actually make this look nice, because one of the first questions the player will have is, who am I? And if it's just a square, you know, it's not all that. But if it is something with eyes looking at you, well, okay. So we drew some frames in Design Workshop, and we're going to implement them in the game engine. So we did. And this is where we got to playtest, because we said the rule is the player can move up, down, left, and right. using WASD. Boom, right? Easy, right? So we got to play test it because we did that. We had these mechanics, we had the frames, and we put them together and made this. Hey. We said, cool. There's just one frame right now, but I left my iPad. That's totally tragic. Doodling with your finger? Yeah. There's some really interesting I there's a couple of pseudo social media sites that I frequent where I only follow concept artists, and there's a couple that really only doodle like that with their finger, like on iPads and stuff. Like they'll do scenescapes and stuff, but there's some amazing work like that. I mean, I think it's partially because they can like zoom in and get detail. Those are wild. Yeah, try to. What I do, say seek out concept artists, character, environment, prop, and those are amazing. Those professionals are amazing things. They post really cool stuff. Yeah, you do too. That moon mouse is awesome. That's so cool. Okay, so we made one frame. Actually, we made lots of frames. Can we just point out that we made lots of frames and imported them? So we have lots of frames. Yeah, because here is what still neutral. This one, right? That's what this one is. But we could blink. Yay. And when he wins, he can be happy about it. When he loses, he can be sad about it. Right? But more than that, we actually made the frames with the idea of moving. This is what he looks like when he's still. This is what he looks like when he's like moving to the right, moving down, moving up. So the eyes will indicate what direction they're going. If we flip this right around, it'll be looking like it's moving to the left. But if they're not moving, boom. And they aren't moving when they win or lose, so this is why we put the emotions there. It's not a lot of frames. And then we realized, oh, right, when you blink, right, all of these have a blink. Oh, right. So maybe it's too much to do the blink, sue me. But we have these things. And for right now, we have an animation system. The idea of an animation system is just a set of rules that we will do to, make it animate and change the frame. Right? Before, our sample scene had a coin pixel art that will animate frames the same way that we want to do it. Well, sort of, because it's a loop of the coin spinning. And these frames just change. It's just images that change, right? And I can trigger it with the spacebar. So there's reason to think that we have that mechanic to make it animate with pixel art animation as well as animate with move animation like this. So right now we're just concentrating on the move animation for our character, but we will do frame. It looked like this. You say play, our little dude with W, A, S, and D can move around. That's kind of nice, right? So we play tested this because it was immediately implemented in our design workshop last time, and we said, okay, up, down, left, right, cool. And we said, oh, wait, this is, I can't, up going diagonal is really hard. I have to, Well, that was okay until we realized players are going to want this to look better. Right? We said, oh, hello. Did this just die? Okay, my mic is still working, but my avatar died. Sorry about that. Uno momento. Technical difficulties. I've been having an issue with a USB device. Or a hub, I should say. Okay. Sorry about that. I think it's better. Right. Technical difficulties. We just roll on. We're okay with that. Right? So, this character could move left and right and up and down, and as soon as we could play test. And that was at the end of the last design workshop, and I said, hold on, there's an issue. In design chat, we said, let's actually look at that again, because now that it is playable, guess what? We can do valuable play testing, part of the design process. Hello. You want to play? This is an excellent blue screen to play against. That's awesome. The bots will play against you. You are welcome to use the small help. I will do my work over here. Absolutely. No, I want you to learn how to play. So do, as soon as the game starts, you could do Command SMOL HELP, small help. It'll tell you about it. But yeah, do that. So yeah, I say this character was cool, and we said, well, let's play test. And one thing I could not do is this. I couldn't move diagonally, not easily, not in a way that players would expect. The player would expect to be able to move left and right, up and down, but they also, assume that if I press W and D, that it will go up and to the right, and it wouldn't. It would only pay attention to one of them. In fact, it was D, so you'd press both W and D, and it would do this. And I was like, man, that's not okay. We looked at this in design chat and realized this is following the rules, but it is not what players would expect. Players would assume they could do something like hold down multiple keys, and the little system to control player movement would just figure it out. And I commented in design chat how funny it is that a player would be sophisticated enough, at least intuitively, to understand they expect this kind of really smooth movement with these 4 keys, where our simple rules were just handling very simple, if W is pressed, then move up. Because of the order of the rules, up and down were counted first, left and right were counted second, so if you mashed the buttons, it would really only be D that was paid attention to. This led us to actually look at code when we were in design chat, which we don't normally do. But we said, let's just look at the instructions, because they were written out in comments like this, like plain language. And the instructions were, yeah, if you press the W, move up. And this literally said the move direction will now equal move up. It was this. And because of that, because all of these did that, if it was set to up because you were pressing W and also you were pressing, any of these other keys, it would ignore that you had ever set it to up. This discussion in design chat led us to talk briefly about vector math. Vector meaning the direction, and math meaning we're really just adding 2 arrows together, and you can absolutely think of it visually instead of numbers. If I technically add a direction like this, an arrow, and another direction like this, what I'm doing is I'm saying, well, go from here to there, and then use this direction and distance from there. In other words, go down here. And the result is this. That's adding two vectors. Now, there's nothing wrong with saying up, down, left, right is W, S, A, and D until we play tested and we realized that follows the rule, but the player expectations are actually more sophisticated. They expect, technically, a sort of adding of vectors. They expect that, yeah, if you are pressing D, that this vector is one of the things being considered. But you could mash the keyboard, you could hold down 3 keys or 2 keys. If you hold down both S and W, the player's actually expecting something very sophisticated. They expect that W is being counted, and they're expecting that S is also counted. And therefore, if you add this together, this and then that together, it puts you right back where you started. In other words, this character doesn't move. They expect something very sophisticated where if you press S and D, it will do both down and to the right. And if you put those two together, you get diagonal. This is interesting that a player would have an intuitive sophistication like this. That's what we commented on in Design Chat. In Design Workshop, we can recognize that the real change, all that we're doing, in order to add vectors, because this move direction is a direction, it is a vector. And what we were using was vectors. This one actually does have numbers on it. It does go up in the way that we would expect. That's why it's called up. That's why this is called down and left and right. But instead of just assigning it, we add it. And this is the operator to add. So that's the only change we did to these things. And yet, wow, look at the difference. Because if I take these out, look at the difference. This is what we had before. We say, I want to move the character, and I'm going to hold down W and D, and it would only pay attention to D. I want to hold down W and A, and it would only pay attention to A. I want to mash all 4 keys, and it does only D. I want to mash up and down, and it only pays attention to down. It's just totally not intuitive. In moving around and trying to just go diagonal, the player is forced to do something like this, which is odd and weird, and it doesn't look good, it doesn't feel good to play. Their fingers have to go up, 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 up on different keys. The difference is dramatic. Even if the code solution is like quite simple, the funny thing is how sophisticated this expectation of the player really is. Yay, tricks. It's a very sophisticated expectation. And the process of design says, let's find things about our results of playtesting, the results of testing, because science. Let's find things about the results of testing to help us understand new insight about what the player needs. Turns out this was needed. Just the movement part, this little movement system, WASD, turns out actually was more sophisticated than that, but now it feels great. This movement feels awesome. Today, I'd like to make it look a little more awesome because it's just one frame. It's nice, but, you know. The only other thing we did this last time on Workshop was we recognized that we had the sample scene with our coin that basically moved the same way. But the camera shows a skybox in the background, so it looks a little different back here. And, yeah, it was a coin. It's not our player. So we made a new scene, the game scene. We'll just call it the game scene. And we just changed the background to a solid color like this. Not much else we did. It looks basically the same. Yeah, there's our little guy. Well, we have the movement system in place, and it can always be improved. That's the design process. I mean, we've already improved it once because we couldn't handle the results. We saw the need as too strong. We needed to deal with it. So we made a script to just handle this little movement system. And that's cool. Just like our sample scene has a script on the coin to do the movement, that's exactly what we did here. We have a script on this coin to do the frames of animation, this spinning coin. And we might do something similar here. Last time we just raided this script and grabbed a bunch of code and threw it in there. So, yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. This says, let's look at it from, what the user of the tool sees. They say, well, there is frame time. The amount of time to hold on each frame, 0.2 seconds, is, good for animation. Cool. The current frame, you can see it change as it goes through, 0, 1, 2, 3. Those are the 4 frames here. It's literally these numbers. This material, well, it's pointing to what is being wrapped onto a square here for the coin. Okay. And then the last thing is what we called an array, a sequence. These frames can be held in an array so that it is not just a collection of them, but it's in a particular order, which is good because we have animation. In our case, the character doesn't really have a sequence like this as much as it has different frames that we want to play at different times. So this is a little different. We still would want our character to have some frame time between frames. We would still want to keep track of which frame, I guess, because there is at least a blink frame. Like, these characters do have blink. But and we definitely want to know what material to change the frame on. Yeah. So there's some things that are similar, but it's going to behave differently because we're not just asking it to loop a sequence of the coin spinning. It's now about the character. That said, let's go ahead and raid some of this code that we have for our coin. This animate coin script did that work, and it was built up over time. But there's our frame time, there's our current frame, there's our material. We have here's that sequence of animation frames. We're probably going to want exactly this, actually. Here's some hidden variables, numbers. This is a number that's keeping track of how much time is left before we switch frames. And this one was saying stop the coin from spinning. Only spin if it's supposed to be animating. This is actually similar to a rule we wanted on our character. Should they be able to move or not? On our move script, we might actually want something like this. But for now, I think we want to make a script that looks something like this, at least in the variables. Probably only need these 4. I don't know. We'll have to see. And then this, yeah? Those variables will get us started because our scripts remember stuff and they do stuff. This is the remembering. So there's only one other thing to do is the doing. Well, the doing was a little more involved, I guess. We do find that material we need and set the initial frame time. This is what the user says the frame should be played at. This is keeping track of the current amount of time per frame. These are 2 different numbers. This one stays the same, this one changes. rest of the doing happens every single frame, and there was some different rules being applied to this coin, but there's some similarities that we want to keep track of. This is how we run the timer down. This value that changes needs to run down. When it is run all the way down, we want to do some things like reset the timer. It's the same code as what we have up here. And, oh yeah, that's right. We increase the frame, or we change the frame number. And that's what we use down here to actually assign the image to the material. Okay. This does the looping part, and I don't know that we need that. I'm not sure. We're going to have to think about it. Let's keep this up to refer to while we go in and make the other script. Game scene. Player character. It's also nice to come back to a scene that's all fresh and new, clean and easy. If we say, you know what, the move script looks pretty cool, let's just collapse that. Then we're not thinking about it. We don't have to think about it. We literally don't have to think about it. What we can do is say, cool, we want to make this character change the frames based on how it's moving. So if I do move to the right, we're going to switch from this frame to this frame. That looks pretty cool. I think we should do that. Right? Well, we're going to want a script to handle that system in the same way that we have neatly done the system of movement in a separate script, and we can forget about it, which is great. This makes it so easy to say, that's one little feature, this script handles that feature, and now that that's done, I don't have to think about it. Here's something else. If there is something wrong, we know exactly where to go to fix it. It's really helpful. I'm going to create a script like we did last time to make move character. I'm going to say this script and say another script, please. I'm going to call it animate character. I mean, why not, right? It is going to be blank. There's some qualities about this blank script that my OCD forces me to want to fix. You'll forgive me if I just copy these things over there. Because this looks weird to me, and it's just bugging me a little bit. I also don't like it. Okay. Just a couple of things. It is so trivial, I'm not even going to mention it. Just saying. Just saying. Okay. So here's our blank script that says animate character. And like our move character script, I'm going to explain to everyone who to blame when things go wrong. It's me. And I'm going to say this manages the character animation frames. The frames of animation, playing it, switching it, blah, 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 right? What else? Well, this animate coin did do things like set the material, but went to go look at this other component to ask, what is the material you have set? It basically did this. It said, the script is here, and it goes, hey, mesh renderer, what is your material? And it just grabs that reference and throws it here. It actually does this, like drag and drop. So we want our script to do that too. We want our script to come here and say, what is your material? And grab a reference to it. In fact, let's just throw this script on our character now. Even though it doesn't really do anything yet, it's blank, but it's here. So our script has, it's on the game object. It is blank now. Let's double click on it again. And we look at our other script and we realize, okay, well, we're going to need these variables. If I try to copy this code right now, I'll change it to say character, and paste it, Visual Studio says, hold on there, buddy. There might be a mesh renderer here and all that, but like these variables don't exist on this script. You're pretending like they're here. You're just naming them, trying to access them, but they don't exist. Here, that's totally fine because they do exist. We made them exist by saying this. We haven't done that yet. So here it says, whoa, whoa, whoa. Well, let's make this exist, right? Is it okay to leave these here? Ah, they're red squiggly lines. Yes, it's fine. It's okay. Let's go ahead and put those variables in, though, because then these red squigglies will go away and it'll make us feel better. Can I just copy this? Is that okay? Sure. But these names probably should change so it doesn't refer to a coin anymore. This rule is not going to be true anymore. That's what we did for the coin, but our rules for what happens in animation is going to change for sure. We can copy this, yeah, but it's going to change. So let's pay a close attention to what needs to change once we paste it. Okay, this frame time is the amount of time per... Well, actually, that could stay the same. The current frame, actually, that could stay the same too. Okay. The material, coin mat. Well, let's just change the name, please. Otherwise, that can stay the same, because we do want to do that same thing. And then coin animation, no. This definitely needs to say character animation, yeah? Fine. So this coin mat doesn't exist. That's right, because we called it this. Let's just put that name right there. I'm just double-clicking to select the whole word. Easy peasy. What about timer? That doesn't exist. Oh, no. Well, let's go get it. I don't know if we need this is animating yet. I guess we can always come back and put it there. But this timer, the current amount of... Yeah, that's exactly what we want. Let's put that in here too. You notice I have a little space in between, because this is a group of variables that we do see in the inspector. They are public. They're also accessible to other scripts. The private variables we never see, and I keep it separate like this so that it's visually easy to read. Sorry, let's get rid of that. That's not supposed to be there. Visual Studio will add these when I'm in the middle of typing something else. It thinks, oh, you want this. I'm like, no, I don't want it. Just clean that up every once in a while. Anyway, this makes it visually easy to read that these are the ones that are visible to other scripts and to the user. This is not. This is hidden. It's private. Which, we've talked about before. This is a good thing that no one can mess with this. Only this script can run the timer down, right? But this, yeah, we want people to set how much time per frame. Yeah. Well, cool. We actually got this much code done already, just by copying and pasting. Is that okay? Yes. Searching, copying, and pasting, you'd be surprised how lazy programmers really are. I can say that with some authority. They see it as a virtue. Okay. It's efficiency is what it is. So, okay. The rest of this code in the coin script, except for this extra function, which I guess we could always have extra functions, but the rest of this functionality is in this update function. Let's see. Do we need to press the space bar to... No, that's not part of the rules of our character at all. Is anime... I don't think we need that. I don't know yet. But this wait time before switching frames. Actually, this is probably true. If it's not animating return, if it is animating, maybe this is something we need. If if it is animating, we could do this differently. It looks like all this code could be inside this if statement, I suppose. Huh. What we're seeing is rules being applied and implemented, and we're just thinking about the rules we need for our character as compared to this coin. This coin had different rules. That's all. Even though we're using similar variables. This function to switch frames after some time, like requiring that we wait until we switch the frame, is sort of the same. Like, we need this as well, actually. Let's copy this bit by bit. I'm going to put this in update. It's okay because timer exists. This ask for the current time since the last frame was rendered is something I can always have access to because the time class is actually part of Unity Engine, which is here. So we're good. Bit by bit, huh? Okay, so let's try this without the curlies, but I'll put curly brackets on there. I'll show you what I mean. I'll copy, I'll paste, put curly brackets on there. Type 1, and the other one is automatically here because Visual Studio says don't forget that these have to come in pairs. So it types the second one for me, and I'll just hit return to make this nice indentation formatting, so it's there. This says every single frame run the timer down, and when it's done, ... Like we don't do anything yet. But this is basic animation stuff that worked for the coin, so might be something we need for our character as well. We're going to have to revisit what the rules of this character system, animation system are. Because it is different than the coin. And here we are following the rules of the coin. We need to follow the rules of our character animation. Reset the timer to the... Okay, yeah. Reset the timer to frame time. That sounds right. That's what we do when the timer is up. That sounds right. Now, are we free to change this later? Yes, absolutely. We're really just trying to close out this script that we're rating. This script has some code we want. We want to rate it and then close it, so we're not thinking about it anymore. In fact, we could close move character because this is good. Like we've done this. If we need to open it again, we'll open it again. But let's simplify, right? Add one to the current frame. I guess if there's a sequence, yeah, I guess that is kind of what we want to do. We'll copy that. We'll paste it here. This sounds like reasonable, but we're going to have to review what the rules of this character animation system need to be, because I know it's different than the coin. The current frame is 4? Yeah, this is totally coin specific. We don't need this. This loops by going back to 0. It also stops. It also adds us. Yeah, this is totally weird. This is just for the coin. We don't need this at all. And the last part says switch the texture. Oh yeah, we definitely want that. We definitely want to switch the texture on the material. The only difference is it's not called coin. So where do we do that? When the timer's up. Okay, so we're still here. Like that. Oh, red squigglies. Oh, that's right. We called it character, not coin. There it is. I'll just copy that just to make sure I'm spelling it exactly. I'll double click on the word so it's easy to paste. Now it says current frame. This is red squiggly because why? Oh, sorry. This is the other one, sorry. Not this, but that. I was just pasting both names there. Oops. There. Okay. If this said change the texture on the coin material to this frame of the coin animation, then we need to say change the texture on the character material to this frame of the character animations. That's all. Same thing. Okay. We might come back here and raid more code, but this, I think, served its purpose, and we can close it. Make it simple. Okay, cool. So what do we have? Are we done? Well, probably not. Like I said, we need to review what the actual rules of this character animation system are. Right now, I think this is set to like animate some frames. If I hit save, I go into the engine and look at what this tool actually has available to us. From this perspective, we can see, well, there's some frame time. Hey, I remember there's like, I don't know, 0.2 or 0.5, something like that. Current frame, we left at 0. This one, I think, should go up here and find that material automatically, just like the coin does. Then character animated, these frames aren't even here yet. What do we do? Well, I guess we could at least put in the neutral face, right? And one more frame. Sure, we have a blink frame, actually. Let's do that. Neutral face, there we go. And the blink. These literally just do this, that's all. We figured, though, if the character is staring at you, that's one thing. But if it blinks, it sort of tells the player, yeah, I'm alive. I'm not just a statue. I'm a real boy. So whatever, right? So, okay. So I did that just to sort of configure this tool to have something there. We said this will fill in by itself. Let's test that theory. We do have a character material. It is on there already. So let's see if this goes here. Let me hit play. That's a good test. You see this? There it is. Okay, good. Other things happened. It looked like the face showed normal and then it blinked. So I guess we're switching frames. That's cool. But we have some error here. What's this? Oh no. Should we stop? We ran into an error. We're bad at code. Oh no. No. An error is something we can look at because it's trying to help us write code. It might be hard to see as I do this. This little red down here is also available if we say, what is it? Window, General, Console. You can also use this hotkey, but I could just click down here. If there is something down here, I could just click. Oh, look at all those errors. Oh no, we're bad at code. No, relax. First things first, it may not be very readable, but it's trying to help, right? So we should read it. I'm going to click on the first one, and I'm going to read it. It says index out of range. This is all one word. It says index out of range exception. Index was outside the bounds of the array. Actually, the array. This is the name of the sequence thingy that we made this. This is an array. Is it talking about this? Well, maybe. Let's keep reading. It says animate character. Oh yeah, that's the script we were working on. Update. That's the function we were working on as well. In fact, there's a link here. It says at animate character. This is the script. It says 39. What does 39 mean? Well, first of all, it is a link, and we can click on it. Second of all, 39 is actually talking about line 39 in our code. If we actually look at our code and we saw which line 39 was, we could go right there. That's exactly what this link does. You could just click on it. Boom. Believe it or not, I should be showing line numbers, in fact. I'll do that later. You'll have to trust me right now. These are typically numbered over here, and you can see that this is line 39. It is highlighting this because I clicked on that link. It is showing me exactly where it ran into the issue to help me fix the problem. Now, showing me where the problem is isn't, in this case, not exactly telling me what the problem is, but the rest of this error message actually is in a very cryptic way. Just relax and read it, and let's see what it's trying to tell us. All these are the same. I can tell because if I collapse, they're all the same. This just happened again and again. 15 times. So it was the same error. Okay. Let's do it again. Is that okay? Yeah, it's fine. We're testing. We're trying to figure out what's up. There it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's doing it, right? And in fact, it's doing it every time this frame changes. Hold on. It said index was outside the bounds of the array. It's looking for frame number 29. In other words, this number 29, there is no 29. That's why the error is there. It is outside the bounds of the array. Oh. So what can we do about that? Well, we can make a rule that says don't do that. We do this on the coin. We say if it's 4, go back to 0. And that loops it. But we don't do anything like that here. We just keep increasing the current frame, which is causing the error. That is exactly what's up. So relax. I can clear that. This error tells us that this rule is not going to fly for our character. Because while, I don't know, maybe it's okay to like loop back. In fact, we could do that for now. I think it was around here. We said if current frame is, I don't know, 2, right? If it's more than 1, right? Then we'll make it 0. This is basically what the coin did. We're going to say loop back to 0. Why? Because we only have 2. We're using this frame and the blink frame, and that's it. There's just 2 frames. Boop, 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 boop. So if it's 0, that's fine. If it says 1, that's fine. If it says 2, make it 0. And it should loop. Let's test that theory. We just added a rule and implemented it. So, well, we have frame animation. Is it glorious yet? No. We can do a little better. I mean, first of all, we can still move. But also, I'm creeped out already. Like, this looks a little mechanical, right? It's true, it is blinking. But if I started blinking at you like this, you'd freak out. I mean, just look at my avatar. I don't do this. Right? My avatar does blink, but not this way. This is so mechanical, I'm freaked out. Fair? We should fix this? We can fix this. This is how we're going to fix it. We can close this, simplify, close this, simplify. We have these frames, and we can be thinking about what are the rules of our animation system while we look at these frames, and I think it's going to be very helpful. In fact, we look at this and we can say, well, this is what it's doing now. Blink, 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 which is weird. What do we actually want to see happen? You see the little preview over here? Right? Well, if it's doing this now, and this looks odd, blink, 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 this is weird. What should happen? Well, just stay open longer. How about that? Blink, blink. That looks way better. Can we just implement that? Yeah. Well, why is it doing this right now? There's just one amount of time to think about it. I mean, like, sorry. there's one frame time setting here on our script, here on our script, this time. Blink actually should be something maybe consistent no matter what pose it's in. Yeah, this is code we grabbed from a different tool, and our rules are actually very different. We don't yet have a sequence to play. We really just have these different things to display with blink every once in a while. Now, it's true that blink does happen, and we do want it to play and loop sort of like the coin did, but there's really just one frame. And more than that, we're realizing now, there's actually an inconsistent timing we want between them. We want it to be held here longer and blink shorter. Blink shorter. To do this, we might say, well, let's make a new rule that all blinks are short. And the frame that we hold on is longer. Instead of one frame time, let's say there's a time for the basic face, and there's a time for blink, a blink time. We don't have a separate number here for blink time, but we could say this number represents how much time to actually hold for real. So let's keep this mechanical for a second and try out 1 second of time between blinking and not blinking. It's still mechanical, it's still gross, but hey, he blinks. A very intentional blink. And then after a while we get to see how mechanical it is. Actually, 1 second might be a little fast. Let's go 2 seconds. Heck, we could make a rule that makes it a variable number. We haven't done random numbers yet. Oh my goodness, that'd be fun. We'll do it later. I'll say 2 seconds for now. This is the amount of time before we blink, okay? But then blink time, we just found out we need a new rule. We need a new variable that says this is a shorter time to blink. I like that it's here, public variable that we can just set and configure and tweak. So let's do that with our blink time as well. Let's make a new variable. Can we add this? Is this okay? Yes, we are realizing we need this. Just like our frame time, but we'll call it blink time. And, hi. Visual Studio is trying to be helpful. Amount of blink frame time. Okay. This is not exactly true anymore, but I'm going to just keep it there for now. Blink time. What do we do with this? Well, it seems like our rules for this have to start with that, because it's not just playing a loop of frames. It's actually playing a frame. And then after that time is done, blink. Which means we should use blink time. And then we should use this time. Wait, how do we know which one to use? No, there must be a rule that says use blink time. And then we should have some rule that says use frame time. Well, how do we know if we're blinking? How do we know if we are blinking? I guess we could do it a number of different ways, but I think the simplest way is to just hold a variable that is true or false. Are we blinking? We had one similar to that in our coin, is animating. It was a Boolean variable. Is blinking? Can we just say that? Yeah. Right? If the character is showing a blink frame, then this will be true. And if that's true, we can say we should be only running down this amount of time. And when that's done, we should check this to see if we are blinking. If we are, we can set it to false and use this time instead. When we see a timer is run down at all, we can check to see, are we blinking? If so, we should use this time. If we are not, we should use this time. And no matter what, we'll just reset or flip-flop. We should change this Boolean variable from true to false and false to true. Are we blinking? Yes. Are we blinking? No. Are you blinking? Yes. Are you blinking? No. Okay. These are rules that I'm just casually throwing out there. But think about it. It's blink and then it's not blink. There's a time we want to hold for that blink, and there's a time we want to hold the rest of the time. These rules are what we're going to try to do here. Where are we doing it? Well, let's see. When the timer is up is what we're going to have to do. Here's where we set frame time. Okay, so wait, there's a time when we don't want to set to this. We want to set it to blink. In fact, there is going to be a line of code that must look like this, but they aren't going to be together like that. This is only going to happen if is blinking is true. I think so. Yeah. If we are blinking, right, is blinking, right, then I will put 2 curly brackets here just to make it nice and neat. Then we do this for sure. If we're not blinking, we could say if is blinking equals false, but you know what? There's a very common thing to do. If this condition is true, then do that. Else is such a common thing to ask for. Else, I want you to do something else, right? That's why this keyword else exists. It's to be after an if, and it sort of says if this is false. So this is done if it's true, and this is done if it's false. In other words, is blinking is false. Ooh. We had the rule that if you are blinking, set to frame time. If you're not blinking, set to blink time. We also said we want to make sure that we set is blinking to be appropriate. This should be false if, not flare, false. Hi, I can spell. So, are you blinking? Yes? Okay, cool. Set the timer to frame time and also set blinking to false. Are you blinking? No. Okay, then definitely set the timer to blink time and set is blinking to true because we actually are blinking right now. This is the blink time and we are blinking. This is the frame time and we are not blinking. Why? Because the timer is run down and we have been blinking or not. You see? This is a little more complicated rules. Right? Because of this condition. But let's try this. If we save, go into our scene and set a blink time to something short, it should pay attention to frame time, and then it should pay attention to blink time, and then it should go back and pay attention to frame time, and so on. Let's test that theory. What we have is a modest amount of character animation, but we're going to say the frame time is 2. The blink time is going to be that 0.2. That's pretty good. Let's see what that kind of looks like and see if this character comes alive. Sort of. Maybe. Ish. Oh my. This has more rules than our coin already. It has different rules than our coin for sure. This very quickly says, I am blinking. Let's do the next frame. I am blinking. Let's do the next frame. Is the timer up? Yes, it is. Okay. Am I blinking? Yes. Well, then set the timer to the frame time, not blink time. And I am not blinking. Next frame. I am not blinking. Next frame. I am blown. So in those several hundred frames per second, it's making that calculation on new rules that we just made, where and when the timer is up, it will switch from handling the timer based on blink time, because we are blinking, or handling the frame time because we're not blinking. These are two different times now the timer can be set to. The timer still runs the same. That's still the same, which is much simpler to think about. But we have the regular frame holding for 2 seconds, the blink time holding for 0.2 seconds. And you can see the current frame switches to 1 for just a brief second. In fact, it seems like the rules actually stem from this whole frame and blink time thing, because this current frame is really helpful for managing a loop of several frames, when in fact it seems like our character only needs 1 frame per direction, right? And then blink. So I'm moving and then I blink. And that blink is kind of going to be the same. Right? No matter whether we're down, we have a blink. And then right, we have a blink. But it looks, in fact, up, we have a blink as well. And I'm really just going to use the right blink for that, because it looks exactly the same. I'm going to reuse that frame. So it's kind of interesting that we were able to grab some code from the other script of the coin and get something cool. We still have our move animation, and that's pretty cool too. Now our character looks sort of alive, which is better than it did before. But we are quickly running into some rules about movement and animation together, right? This animation system that we have frames for and we can define in rules includes these blinks, because we like the idea that we can animate pixel art animation. We also like the idea that our character could look alive and blinking, sure. But along with our movement system, our animation system seems to need to do 2 things. One is the blinking. No matter what other frame we do, there is a blink for it. Okay, and it should follow this same rule that we have implemented right now. Even though it's just 1 frame being shown, it has a blink. This pose of facing you has a blink frame that we go to, and the same rule of the shorter time for the blink will apply no matter what other pose we do. We have these poses we need to do for up, down, left, and right. If you're thinking ahead, you're also thinking, what happens when we do diagonal? And we've talked about this during design chat. Our rules are expanding, and that's okay. This is why we picked a very simple game. We picked a very simple game because we're practicing what it's like to go through the process of design and then development. Going and making it and doing development shows us new opportunities in design. That's how we got the character itself. That's how we got the diagonal movement. That's how we got the idea of doing blinking. That's how we're realizing now we need to keep expanding the rules to accommodate new cool things. Frankly, our players are way ahead of us. Our players already knew about this very sophisticated movement. And here we thought it was just up, down, left, right. It was not. Well, it sort of is, but it's sophisticated because we can do this button mashing and everything is sorted out. Likewise, our players are way ahead of us in terms of sophistication and what they would expect about these poses that we can go to. They were way ahead of us in terms of what they would expect our blinking character can do. And we're just catching up in design first and then in development. So yeah, it's expanding rules to accommodate what our player's already expecting. Our player expects cool stuff, and we're going to accommodate them as we go forward and continue to make this character move around in the game engine and blink. It will now do poses as well. See all these frames? Well, half of them are blinks, clearly. What we did today was handle the rule that goes to half of our frames, because whether we are happy and blinking or moving to the right and blinking, it doesn't matter. It's all just go to blink and then go back. That rule is already done. So half of our frames are sort of accounted for in rules, and we can move forward now and just worry about what pose we need to do. Our rules as we go forward should accommodate a pose, and sort of we can ignore the blink because we've already figured out the rules for that. We will just do the same rule no matter what pose we're in. So if we're going to the right, the left, or up or down, we will always assume there is a blink because there is one. We're going to go back to design chat and sort through the rules to do the pose. But we don't have to do the blink stuff anymore because the rules for blinking are already sorted out. We will make that work in our new script because we've figured out how to do that. We added an extra thing to remember, blink time, and the extra thing to do is switch between frame time and blink time based on whether we are blinking now or not. We might change this, to be fair, because we're going to have more frames, but we can rethink the whole way that we're holding our frames so that we can make it easier for ourselves. We can understand it more like this, like the names up, down, left, right, and happy and sad. And that would be simpler. So we'll try to go simple, yeah? Try to go simple. Here we are in the design workshop, looking at a game engine and code. But look at the cute little dude. He moves around and blinks. He's definitely cuter now that he's not a statue. He's definitely cuter now that he blinks. Eyes help us understand, oh wait, that's a character. The blinking tells us, oh wait, that character is alive. And if I press W, A, S, and D and it moves in that direction, I immediately, intuitively, as the player, understand that is me. Oh my goodness, that is me. You see. Yeah, this is goofy, silly. I guess we could also be playtesting funny things like, what does it look like when the player character can go off screen? Should the and this is puppeteering, right? I mean, what do you think I'm doing with my avatar? We can be playtesting a lot with just this, right? It looks cute, but also the movement and the frame space that we're playing in, even though there's no win and lose condition, we're discovering things that the player might expect. We're discovering opportunities that might serve as a challenge. What if the win square is off screen? How does the player know where it is? Right? They wouldn't. That'd be too much challenge, I'm sure, but there might be something fun there. We could absolutely talk about this later, because we did enough for today. An hour. We had some people stop by. Some people play small towers. Had some people do secret commands. It's fun. We have a game. Now, it's in design form right now, paper prototyped and all, but we made sure it was a game, and we are beginning to implement it in the engine ourselves. It's kind of what we do here in the jungle. This cartoon ape in a jungle makes games as well as plays games. And if you're into that, then follow and be notified so you can show up. And when you do show up, please use Command Tie. Command Tie lets me know you're here, and I can say, you are here. In the meantime, have fun, do well, be good, stay safe, happy holidays. See ya.